Hello and welcome to Don't Date Me, a podcast where a certain number of adults discuss dating each week. On the internet, into your ear holes, our thoughts go. With consent. I'm so sorry.
Jimmy! Ding, ding, ding!
Ding, ding, ding. We'll start again.
No dirty talk, just podcasts. No turn-ons, so turn me on. By that I mean this podcast. Not interested, so don't date me. Review me, just rate me. Like, subscribe, don't date me. Review me, just rate me. Like, subscribe, don't date me. Don't date me. Don't date me. Don't date me. Alexa, play the podcast Don't Date Me.
Okay, speaking of which, follow us on Instagram at It's Jamie Sparks and Twitter at It's Jamie Sparks.
Wait, is it?
At It's Jamie Sparks.
Don't date me. Don't date me. Don't date me.
Hello and welcome to Don't Date Me, a podcast where a certain number of adults discuss dating each week. On the internet, from our mouths to your ears. That's still weird, but we're
Still weird, but better.
Yeah, it's more appropriate. We're recording live, but not live, from the UWS Paisley campus.
My alma mater.
Your
As
what?
of now.
Your what?
My alma mater.
I don't know what that means.
It means.
Are you speaking Latin at me right now?
Yes.
Get in the bin. What is this? This is not a culture podcast.
Alma mater is basically your old education
Oh.
place.
Indeed.
So,
We've just gained several culture points. We're going to get reviewed in the Guardian newspaper in a minute. Anyway, I'm Jamie, a 37-year-old, 6'4", bisexual man and closeted Christian, and I want to meet your mom. I've got my legs out. Actually, I'm going to be really honest with you. I've got my legs out and my arms out, which is a cardinal sin according to Destiny's Child. Apparently, the rule of Destiny's Child was that it wasn't slutty if you had your legs out, your arms have to be covered. But if you had your arms out, your legs have to be covered. So there you go.
that's not the rule. That's not the rule that we go by as females. As females, you can have two
I
or
know.
three out. You can have two or three out.
Two of what out?
Three out. So,
What's three?
tits, butt and legs.
What, all three out?
No,
Oh, two and three.
two of the three.
Okay, and what happens
So-
if you have all three though? That's
Then
too
basically
much.
you're a slut.
Oh no!
So you can wear a
So
short
problematic.
dress that shows off your legs and maybe like low cut and it shows your cleavage, or you can have something like high scoops that accentuates your butt and your legs, or you can have something that's longer in length that accentuates your butt and shows off your boobs.
Boom. But full disclosure,
Not everybody lives by this
No.
life, and that is fine.
yeah, this is just like if you want to keep it safe for work. PG-13.
Yeah.
Right. This podcast endorses doing whatever the hell you want. And speaking of that, please may you introduce yourself, producer Imogen.
So hello, I am producer Emma Jane, as some of you may know me from the Life podcast and the most recent mini episode.
Hell yeah.
So, hi.
So what's your vibe?
So, in what sense?
Give us 3 snapshots as to something that you're passionate about.
So, probably I would say one thing I am super passionate about and always will be is definitely anti-bullying. That's like one thing I will not stand for in
Boom.
any way, shape or form. I'm also very much like an advocate for those who need an advocate. So I feel that kind of slightly falls into the same category, but there's always people that are like, so people with Down syndrome I feel kind of need to have advocates, obviously. People of like smaller cultures and stuff like that, just like even just being there to listen to some people, and obviously again the LGBTQ I plus community, a lot of them sort of like needs sort of an advocate for that. So it's that really like I will,
An
although
ally through and through.
well I'm also part of that community, as
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but I'm also very much an ally for those like within that, and then probably I'm really passionate about my partner and my daughter as well.
Yeah.
So,
And that's what brings us into the season 2 of the podcast. That's amazing. That's so fun though, because like most people when they first start like on an episode that's coming up later in the season, the lads episode, people went in with like kind of like the dating snapshots of chat, whereas you're like straight up front, these are my ethics. If you don't like this ethics party, get on the next bus. Love it. So Emma Jane, so we know we've said this before, so there's no point treading old ground, but we know each other effectively because we used to be colleagues back in the day, which was super. I had a great time. I had a fun time, to be honest.
Like, it was great working with you. It was that we were like, I think it's like, when we got to the end of like our campaign and stuff, at the end of our time there, it was a really close knit team. We all were like super close.
I would say it's, but probably by far until the one I'm in now, I would say it's the closest work team I've been in.
Yeah, because I always think with people who we used to work with don't actually realise like
how lucky
close we are.
Yeah,
as you and I, and actually how lucky we were at the time.
For sure, definitely. So. Well, okay, so into season 2 of the podcast, it's going to be super interesting and different, and a different vibe. Because if you've just joined us because you've skipped past all those mini episodes and you're just here for the main course, this season's going to be slightly different because Sarah has got a new job. So congrats, Sarah! Woohoo! I'm meeting up with her in a week or two, I think, for a catch up. But
and maybe recording a sneaky wee episode.
I haven't told her that yet, but maybe. But yeah, ultimately, those shoes are very squeaky. But he's got a beard, so it's fine. We'll allow it. I'm going to meet up with Sarah in maybe a week or so, just to catch up and stuff. But she's super busy with her new job, so ultimately, even though this podcast was her idea, she's going to become a special guest on her own podcast, which is fine. It's okay. It's all good. But we're going to blast on ahead.
We love you, Sarah.
We love you, Sarah. But we're going to blast on ahead, kind of without her. She's going to kind of be like an executive producer. Yeah, in the background. And this season we've got loads coming up. We've got a polyamorous episode because people love that one. So we're going to look at polyamorous breakups. We've got a girls episode where it's all girls with me in the background shouting things. So just like the natural experience of every woman that they have in their life, I guess. We're also going to have... I'll edit that bit out. We're going to have an all girls episode. We're going to have an all boys episode. And we're also going to discuss other things which we'll let you know later on down the line. But we're touching base with Emma Jane to get to know her a bit and just find out her vibe in approximately 4 minutes. So, no pressure. Hi, it's Jamie here. We want you to take part in season 2 of Don't Date Me. You can do that by dropping us a WhatsApp message or voice note by simply hitting the contact button on our Instagram page. Instagram.com/don't date me pod. That's don't date me pod. Or you can email us. It's jamiesparks@gmail.com. Other email providers are available. Give us your chat, your dating horror stories, or dating topics you want us to explore in season 2. And in the meantime,
Don't date me.
perfect. So,
sorry, time constraints for me. I was on night shift last night and I forgot we were recording.
It's okay. Sidebar: Emma Jane does literally have Mocha on her shoulder right now. But that's not because of the night shift. It's just because you spelt Mocha on your shoulder.
It's because the cup's as drippy as anything. I don't know how it got on my shoulder.
Okay, so Emma Jane, tell us a little bit about where you're at now romantically and also where you've been.
So now I am happily engaged to my partner who, as I said in the mini episode, I've been with him for nearly 10 years. I have a beautiful 3.5-year-old.
Question, is your partner male?
Yes,
female?
He's
okay.
male.
Cool.
He's male.
Just for clarity.
And I have obviously said my beautiful 3.5-year-old, and I am very happy. Probably the happiest I've been like in a relationship ever. And actually, he's the partner that actually he settles me, he grounds me. It's that way where he's not afraid to call me out on bullshit. And likewise, I can do the same with him.
Amazing. One of my favourite things though is that you both are quite happy to do your separate thing.
Yeah.
as well, which I
It's-
think is so cool.
It's something that we both kind of were like that. Oh, like, I love, obviously, Dramatics that way. We're like, I've not done an Dram show for years. Like, one, because small one is too small, and two, just because obviously I've been studying, so I've not had the time. And I think if I did that, I literally would end up on like a heap on the floor.
Exactly.
Like, so yeah.
But it's cool that you get to.
Yeah,
kind
and
of
he
do a
does
separate
like
thing.
his own thing. That's something that we set like from very early on. We both still have our own things, our own space, our own time, because I personally very much believe that you need to have a separate life as well as a life together. And as much as like there's things that we both like to do, we both do them separately but also and together, like similar things. Like we both do D&D, but I've obviously not partaken in that for like years because I've been constantly after the small one, and he's going on and still done stuff, but I'm hopefully going to be starting to be able to get in and do more of that, and that's something you and I plan on doing, I believe.
That's exciting. Well, okay, so in terms of okay, and then for further context, like, what is your, how do you identify?
So that's something that I've kind of like more sort of like been sort of like realising in the past couple of years. So I'm actually demisexual.
Who with the what now?
Demisexual.
Okay.
So
I know what that is, but there's going to be a lot of people who don't know what that
So
is.
there's two sides to demisexual.
Okay.
So there's the one side that is where you need to have an emotional connection with a person to have a relationship with them. But demisexual actually, in the terms of it, means halfway between sexual and asexual.
Huh.
So
Interesting.
it's that way where, and that has pretty much been me look at it through like my whole like dating history. There's points where I've just been like, me. Like, don't care, don't mind if I have something, if I don't have something. Then there's other points where I have been really sort of craving that sort of sexual intent, but at the same time I also feel I need to have that emotional connection with the person to be able to follow through on it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is kind of like the best way to describe it.
So does the idea of just like a one night stand just give you anxiety?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's that bit like that. No.
I think it's interesting because I kind of vibe with that to a certain degree, because it's that way where I like the idea of a one night stand. I've never done it, full disclosure, which I think a lot of people would be surprised about. But you know, I have had a good time with people I don't know very well though. But now where I'm at in life, I think just from like a health and safety perspective, I'm kind of less likely to, I'm less inclined to, just because, and even though I'm like quite cautious with these things, like I like to get to know someone better now, so I can kind of see where you're coming from.
Okay.
And it's interesting because we're going to get your perspective on this obviously today, but later on the season, another person that's on the podcast is also demisexual.
Oh.
From a male perspective, and they're going to share their perspective too, which will be interesting. Pipistrello Designs creates badass digital illustrations, greeting cards, keyrings, and pins. If you enjoy spooky skeletons, pizza, space, and RuPaul, then you're going to love Pipistrello Designs. Check out their Instagram page where you can find a link to their Etsy shop, where you can treat yourself to a wee tote bag. Do it! Support a local artist and share some sass with loved ones with Pipistrello Designs. And that really concludes this week's episode of Don't Date Me. So we hope you enjoyed it as I pick up my show notes. Okay, you can say this next bit, right? So, blah, 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 blah.
We want to know your thoughts. Drop us a WhatsApp, a voice note, or send us a message. The links to our Instagram, Don't Date Me Pod, that's Don't Date Me Pod, P-O-D, or email us. It's jamiesparks@gmail.com. Other email providers are available. And you have a dating horror story, need some advice, or really just want to share your opinion, again, email us, WhatsApp us, message us. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe. It helps people find our podcast. See you next week.
Oh my god. So,
Stay hopeful, acknowledge the past,
oh,
and don't date me.
Yay! One more time for those at the back. Go for it.
Stay hopeful, acknowledge the past, and don't date me.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.